It says live. Are we live?
Am I even stop? I don't know. I don't even know if I'm sharing anymore.
It says
Am I?
live.
It says live.
All right, that sounds cool. We're in. Don't yell at me. Everybody's.
I'm resisting the urge to pick my nose because it says live.
Everybody's. Oh, what's happening? There's other things. There's things. I don't even know what's happening. Stop it.
We are live because I'm watching it on the other screen. So.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh yeah, Bob, don't watch it on the other screen. Ignore the other screen. Yeah.
Dude, I'm so famous. I gotta watch myself. It's so meta.
I don't even have it up because I can't. It screwed me up. I don't even have the second screen up.
I got it.
Is you guys.
It's like 3D. It's like crazy.
We've got all of our 3 regular listeners going, you guys are idiots.
No, we started with a whole 4. No, I'm joking. Oh, man. We are live. Oh, thank you. Bob Lundgren saying we're good. We're live. The fried squirrel was horrible. Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Well, we might as well just get right into it, right? I would think.
Absolutely.
So, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable. This is a multimedia platform to bring hazmat response information and training tips from hazmat members from around the globe. I'm Bobby Salson. I'll be acting as the host for tonight, and I'm joined by the ever illustrious Bob Kosh, Jason Rogers, and Mike Monaco. Monaco?
Either way.
How do you say that?
Monaco or Monaco. A rose is still a rose by any other name.
Wow.
Crazy. So what's been going on? Anything big? Obviously, we're going to get into the crux of it, but Bob's finished up a whirlwind tour. His fans brought him back from New York City.
Wow. If anybody sees my liver somewhere between O'Hare's or Suspenders or anything in Manhattan, please deliver it back to Florida. Or Scruffy, what was that? Oh, yeah, McSorley's, that place.
McSorley's, yes.
No, we went out. A bunch of us went out for the Tunnel to the Tower 5K run. Good time. It was in honor of one of the brothers who ran through the tunnel on that fateful day, and I want to say there was 25,000 people there for that. So it was good to see everybody there, and it's 15th year, and it gets bigger and bigger every year. If you haven't been, I suggest you do it. It's a good thing to do.
Excellent.
Did you actually
do anything fun?
Did you actually run, Kosh?
Well, the downhill part going to the tunnel is easy. Right. And then when you're in the tunnel, nobody can see what you're doing until you see the daylight. Then you start running again. So it's
run when you're chased.
That's right.
I think everybody else is doing kind of what they're regularly doing, right? There's nothing special. I'm actually transmitting live and from the National Fire Academy. Yeah, from prison, as you can tell from behind me.
It certainly looks like it.
I'm from the National Fire Academy, which is like prison. No, these guys are awesome. I am at Site Operations, which is like Chemistry Part 2 with some people from around the country. And I know they're watching me in the pub right now, waiting for this train wreck to be over. And but, I got to say, if you haven't come here, you haven't investigated their classes, you really should do it. If you're a hazmat tech, they have chemistry for the first responder, and I'm going to say it is probably, they look at it here as the hardest class they give, and this is basically a university, so it is a no-joke class. But when you come out here and you walk out of this class, you are the bomb. I mean, you can honestly say that. It is a difficult class. So when I was in class today, I'm just going to lead right into the story we're going to basically cover for tonight. I started getting notifications that an explosion happened in the Bronx of New York City. And now we've been getting pipe bombs and minor occurrences. So when I heard this, I kind of said to myself, you know what? This is another knucklehead that did something stupid. And here we are again. But when we started peeling back the onion on this thing, it started getting a little bit bigger. I'll give the the short story, because once again, I just want to preface this whole thing. We do not know all of the details. We are getting this, and I'm not even talking about the stuff that we know from inside the firehouse. I will not talk about that. I don't think anybody, Mike, Bobby and Jason will not talk about what happens inside the firehouse. But we'll be quoting stuff from the newspapers, general information and stuff like that. But it seems that there was a 20 by 40 two-story private dwelling wood frame that was in the Bronx. Companies were alerted for that alarm for a gas leak. They were investigating it. And from what I'm understanding, Consolidated Edison, which is the gas utility in our area, was in the basement investigating the meter in the basement when the house, the second floor, if you haven't seen these pictures, and they are public, quite literally evaporated. It basically vaporized, what happened. There were no firemen. I'm hearing cross information, and again, all this is public, that there was a clandestine lab of some type noted. They backed out to the front, and the chief involved was struck by a part of the roof. Now, I've heard that he was crushed. I've heard he was hit by a fast-moving piece, whatever it is. So the FDNY has lost one of our chiefs. His name is Mike Fahey, Battalion 19, 17-year member, and from what I understand, a really good guy. But what do we know? One of the points that we're actually going to be talking about is that this is a grow house. This was a confirmed grow house, and we'll expand on that a little more. But there was an arrest made in New Jersey of the guy that owned it.
Was renting it.
Was renting it. I apologize. I don't want to misquote anything. So, please give us our leeway on this one, because we're kind of quoting news that we saw across the internet. And you know how news is. Facebook that's where I go for my news.
Oh, yeah. My 8-year-old's up on everything. I just go right to her.
Who's dating who and whatnot. And so what do we know about this? Let's talk about the science first. Let's get that out of the way. When we hear grow house, what are you typically thinking of?
Light bulbs.
I think the first thing is you see the heat, so you may maybe get those complaints, but a lot of times they'll fly over or they'll get and I don't know about you guys, but our electric company will alert the law enforcement that, hey, this house is using 10 times the amount of electricity that it should. And that's the first kind of clue. Then, then they'll use their FLIR and see if they get a signature from that sort of stuff. So, that's the first thing I thought of was the electricity issue, maybe with the grow operation.
I don't know if the power company out by us would give up such a lucrative customer so quickly. I think they would hold on to them for a little while.
Could be.
But no, there was actually some discussion among we have our really good technicians down at the academy, and then we have our new guys. And somebody said, it was a grow house. Maybe they were using butane, and the butane, exploded. And we kind of sat back and we had a conversation about that. And I was like, all right, well, let's think about this. Like, what size containers would a drug dealer probably get butane for? And it's probably the small little containers, nothing big, nothing tremendous. I said, what kind of volume of butane would need to be in that house to be able to produce an explosion of that size? So just based on, I got 20 digits that I can count on, 21 digits I can count on. So I wasn't able to, it would be a lot of butane to do that kind of damage. So right off the bat, I was kind of like, I don't really think butane did that. Like, I could see a butane container catching on fire and lighting something else on fire, but that volume of butane must be pretty significant in order to blow the house to little itty bitty bits like that. So,
and you're talking about the honey oil production,
right? The honey oil, yeah. So,
can I just want everybody to understand that we are not, we're not dissecting what we think was the real deal. This is just a hypothetical of what is a general possibility.
Right.
Would you
Right.
agree with that? I mean,
Yeah.
this is just what if we had a grow house, this is how we're talking about that. So
Some
go ahead,
things,
I'm sorry.
some things to possibly look out for.
Right.
That's it.
Right. And kind of like what me and Bob were doing up in Massachusetts, where you have a scenario and we're just manipulating variables a little bit and seeing what the different outcomes would lead. So that's, totally what we're doing. But,
Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
no, that,
We were talking a little bit offline earlier, kind of what our responses are. And we have, depending on who you are, what department size and whatnot, what you send to this types of units, this type of incident for a gas odor. So maybe we should start from square one. What's the response? Does anybody send units with air monitoring capabilities because gas odor? My department, we're been trying to go through some dispatch changes, and depending on any given day and who's dispatching, it's closest unit goes. That could be a single engine company with no air monitor detection, or it could be a truck company. Well, all the truck companies have air monitors with the closest engine company, and then Hazmat 1 self dispatches. If we get a full, confirmed gas odor, then there's probably 3, 4, 5 units going.
Yeah.
So that's in Orlando.
See, you know what? In New York City, and I am not an Uber buff. Mike might know better than me, but a lot of guys are saying we do 1 and 1, just about on everything. It's one truck, one engine, and I think, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that all of them have a 4 gas meter. I think some do.
no, but they do have almost everybody. I think everybody has and I'm not name dropping brands here, but we carry an Altair, which is going to be a type of single gas meter that we use that measures for LEL as well as oxygen, but it is designed specifically for methane, for natural gas. So your typical fireman doesn't have to do any kind of conversion. It is set for methane, and everybody's got them.
Yeah.
So
Phil, we're kind of just dissecting parts like the response protocol in the first part, and we're talking about what is your department dispatch for the generic gas leak.
Order natural gas will get it changed, but it's now minimum 2 engines, 1 truck, and a battalion chief. I think unless there's it's a commercial building, and I think you might get 1 additional engine. There's no hazmat component on the first on that, but it's typically to get at least a couple of engines and a truck to any sort of natural gas call. Outside of just some sort of maybe an odor like a skunk kind of thing could be a single engine response, but usually it's multiple units.
And that's kind of leads us into the next part is that we have these houses that are, let's say, growing. You know what? Let's just focus on pot. Okay, marijuana is being made in a house. It is a popular, I don't want to say cult, but it's almost like home brewing beer. People are hydroponics. They're really into this crap, and they do it in the house, and it's quite lucrative from what I understand. I'm just saying, but from what I understand,
Hazmat Guys dime bag at thehazmatguys.com.
right, and you get a free exit bag with that. But what I'm saying is that Jason was saying that the electric, it uses a lot of electric, but in all reality, a lot of these things use other things like CO2 generators, and they can use anything from butane, propane, natural gas. Now, natural gas in New York City, we're saying that theoretical is New York City, is very prevalent. So what if, let's say, they were using a CO2, not a CO, not a carbon monoxide, a carbon dioxide generator, because we have a high amount of heat and we have carbon dioxide. Now, most of these generators use some flame and some type of low potential to give off moderate heat and carbon dioxide. So now let's thrust ourselves into those seats. What if we were thrown into the scene where you're going to a call for, somebody's sick, sick house, people suspicious, cops call you there, you name the situation. But now let's say you go there for something like your car. Actually, the only thing you're probably going to pick it up on is an oxygen depression, correct?
Depending on how much parts they're, percentage they're pumping CO in, CO2 rather.
And how sealed up they got the room.
Right, and how sealed up they got the room.
True. You're going to have leakage.
Yeah.
And carbon dioxide is a heavy gas. So if, let's say they're doing it on the second floor, which is smart because it's naturally a warmer place. When you hit the front door, you're going to be probably encountering the majority of the CO2 at the front door. So now you may get a blast of depression. But how much? I mean, these things, from my research, is only giving off about 1,500 parts per million. That's not a lot.
No,
Right.
I don't even think that would register as you wouldn't even get a drop in the percentage.
No, you wouldn't even
You
get a
wouldn't
drop.
even get a deflection.
No, and the thing is that the ideal H is 40,000 parts per million. So, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, the marijuana plant, there's not a lot going on. I mean, unless they're really taking it and converting it to the hash oil, which we've talked about. The only ones that really start to become a flammability hazard are the ones where they're making the synthetic marijuana, where they're taking the acetone and the rubbing alcohol and they're mixing them all together. We had the guy in Brooklyn who turned himself into a Roman candle that way, but he wasn't doing marijuana; he was making synthetic marijuana. So, there were actual chemicals involved in the process. A regular grow place, I've been to grow plant fires, and they're lights, plants, and maybe a CO2 generator and a heater.
All right, I'm going to put everybody on pause for 1 second because I'm going to read some of this stuff that's in the group, and it's this is, again, if you're watching YouTube live, if you're not, please do go to it. But every week we do monitor the chat group that's associated with this show, and our good friend Hazmat 7, which is
Todd Burton.
oh my God,
Todd
I just
Burton.
blanked on his. I apologize, Todd. I just blanked in your head. He said the 4 cans would be a big explosion in a small place. Check out Hazmat 7 on YouTube, and there's a phase 2 study. Check that out a little bit more. And also, they might be using propane to lower the O2 level, making a stronger product, making a very high THC output. That's from Bob Lundgren up in Massachusetts. Good point on that one. They're also generating CO2 by burning propane inside the greenhouse, and you'd have to probably measure within 6 inches of the floor to get that. Now, I guess that would be true if you had a very large house. Let's say you had a house that's 2,000 square feet and the ground floor is 900. It's going to spill out. It's basically going to have a backwards mushrooming effect where it's going to go flat. And once you open that door, it's basically going to go right out the door.
Yeah, there was one of the things I saw that they used like 6 of those small propane camping bottles and hooked up to the lights, and they had like 6 or 8 of those in a room to produce that way. So that's
Coleman Lantern.
Yeah.
All right, and Todd's saying that his study room is 10 by 10, and he had to measure within 6 inches to even get a register. So, I mean, yeah, this could happen. And I'll be honest here, why would I bring propane, a consumable that's difficult, and not only that, but is going to start raising some eyebrows when I'm starting to fill 20s every week? Eventually the guy's going to be like, how much do you barbecue?
A lot.
Right? I love this. I love the steak. But if I can tap into the gas line that's in my basement that's running the hot water heater or whatever it is and bring that upstairs, because what it really comes down to, guys, is that if you have a flame that burns clear, white, or blue, you get carbon dioxide. If you get a flame that burns yellow, red, or sooty, I guess, it's going to be carbon monoxide. That's incomplete. So they're looking to get that clean, no soot, high temperature, yet carbon dioxide effect to get these plants going. And though it's very hard for us to get that to ignition point, the problem is the propane itself. Would you anybody agree with that? I mean, and it's when I'm thinking about this, it's a simple asphyxiant. It's a displacer, right? Whatever they're using is a displacer. So, but the thing is that I'm concerned about the flammability aspect of the gas used to make the displacement.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
You know,
And, I don't know. And I know I came in kind of late, but I know out here the grow rooms are typically, I don't know what's legal and illegal anymore, but the cops may fleur an area and they'll see excessive heat on a roof of a house, and they may suspect something. And the other thing is there's alerts with the power company of excessive use of power for all the lights and things like that. So it wouldn't surprise me that they would use a system that might not use a natural gas to take them, out of that loop, or try to bootleg it in some way. Like we have seen, there's a one on Hazmat Nation now of somebody that tried to bootleg using a garden hose from their neighbor's gas meter that Jeff Syntech gave us out of an incident in Scottsdale. So it's all these things. It's like, I'm sure whatever it ends up being, it's not going to be anything normal. It's not, say, to code.
Yeah. Well, I just found out that we are not allowed by law as a fire department, not just New York City, but any fire department. And I got to find out if this is true, but we cannot drive down the block with a thermal imaging camera looking for hot houses. But the police department in their helicopters can fly down a block with their FLIRs and find hot houses and investigate those for probable. That's interesting. I got to find out about that. I heard that today in class, and I had to look back on that. But so
I've not heard of that. Yeah,
I never either, and I'll throw it out there if somebody can find out about that. Maybe get back to us on our channel or feedback or Facebook or whatever the hell it is. I don't know how true that is, but
well, are we allowed to, as a fire department, allowed to stand out on the street and use it to get cars to slow down? Because that works fantastic.
I've used the thermal imager as a lie detector on arson investigation.
We always used to. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but we used to take the EKG pads and put them on the side of EDP's heads.
Special medicine.
We used to give them psych evaluation on the street. I'm gonna get a lot of trouble. I'm gonna get a lot of trouble for saying that. Oh,
this is
man.
for entertainment purposes only. All these stories are completely made up. None of it ever happened.
No, yeah. But you know what? I mean, like, listen, there's a lot of information that's still coming in about this. Keep your eyes and ears out for what happened. I know early reports, and I am comfortable reporting out there, is that the wake services are reported to be Thursday and Friday, and the funeral is on Saturday. I do not know any locations, but when we do know it, we will post it on our Facebook and our Twitter accounts. If anybody wants to come down or up, it would be greatly appreciated for those of you that want to come up there and do it. But it is, it's, as far as us, I mean, I think that's the only thing we can really do is kind of like try to give a little insight to the next guy that has to do this. And it sounds like it's a freak accident.
Yeah, and they were on scene for it. It's not like they just pulled up and it went off. Like, people were there, people were operating. You're talking about a while, in terms of the gas leak. Usually we're there, we're in, we're out. 10 minutes, the appliance is shut down, the gas is shut down, and we're gone.
Dude, the police were there. Yeah, the police never get there.
No, they were there for a significant amount of time. Like, it makes you wonder what the hell happened.
I think I read in the post that said 9 police officers were injured during the explosion. There were Con Ed guys in the house,
in the basement,
in the basement, and they were there for at least an hour. So it was like an ongoing investigation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it could have been, who knows? We're not going to money more quarterback anything, but this guy could have been in a little closet in a room somewhere and it just built up. Who knows?
Yeah, it just hit that sweet spot.
And I know we're trying to fill in a lot of holes, but it's not uncommon for any of the drug labs to be, not saying this one was, but not to be associated with any other sort of organized crime. So it's never outside the realm that they're not only cooking some sort of drug, but also, there's that possibility that there's another type of lab there that we've talked about a little bit before, and Todd Burton shared some good stuff on that as far as, they fund the bomb making with the weed. Another thing I want to say on the subject of knowing when the funeral was is, Bobby, as soon as you know anything with the whatever link to widows and orphans funds and all that stuff, let us know and we'll put all that up.
We'll put it up, and listen, you guys do what you can do, and we're going to probably do something ourselves and try to get that going. But you guys got anything else to throw in on this weird topic?
The only thing. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. All right. I don't have much insight on meth labs. When meth labs have, they give off their flammable gases, are those generally rise or sink? Those gases.
They generally sink.
Generally sink, because there's only 13 that go up.
It seems like from the pictures and everything that was there, that this was really almost like an attic or a second floor explosion. Whatever it was up. So that was just one of the thoughts that were in my mind.
Well, what if they had the doors closed?
Yeah.
It's what?
What if they had the doors closed?
Yeah. Just, it could be anything. Just a thought.
Yeah.
And I think the one thing too to add is, with the illicit drug and the profit margin, the lab production, you can't approach that and not think of the criminal element. This could have been booby trapped. So I think that there are things that you've got that are outside the box of a normal response, certainly when you're dealing with the criminal element.
Oh gosh, God rest his soul, Daryl Gates, our old police chief in Los Angeles. That's why they had the battering ram on the front of a tank that they used to go in and do the old crack house raids, is because of the booby traps involved. And it wasn't necessarily a booby trap always for law enforcement. It was for the competition. So it's not outside the realm.
All right. Well, do we have anything else on this topic? All right. Well,
the only thing I can say is just, when people get to something, a suspicious odor, the first thing, just do your 360 and take it a little slower. Start from there and go.
Very good. I like that. All right. Let's go around the tables. Bob, Kosh, what do you got?
Nothing. You can hit me up at hcmtlt@gmail.com or at Twitter. Be safe.
Jason?
You can get me at jason@hazmatnation.com. Send me. We're starting to get some more hazmatters crews in, so send us your stuff about your crew. We'll debut you on Hazmat Nation.
Michael?
Mike at the Hazmat Guys is hazmatguys.com, how you can get a hold of me. You can also reach out to the Hazmat Guys in general on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and check out the podcast.
Philip, what's with all the guns, Philip? Remember that movie? What was that? That was Beverly Hills Cop, when he goes into the strip club.
Yeah.
Right? Sorry.
Nothing. I'm a beat behind. We just got back from a call, so I'm a beat behind. So everybody be safe. If you don't know where to find me, it's probably good. And man, I talked to a lot of people this week, and if any of them are watching, you know who you are, and thanks. And we'll keep up the good work with Hazmat Nation. And that's it. And I wish we were just talking about this whole thing in theory, but it sucks what happened this morning, and it's a real bummer. I hope people learn something from it.
All right. Well,
where can we find you?
Where you can't find me. I'm in the national prison.
He's in jail right now.
I'm in.
Are you playing family with somebody?
I'm a power bottom on this one. All right. So anyway, you can find me. I am the other co-host on the podcast, the Hazmat Guys. You can find us on the hazmatguys.com, on Twitter, Facebook, everything like that. Actually, we are getting on to not crap. What the hell is the new one?
Pinterest.
Spotify.
Pinterest.
We are getting on to Spotify. We are in the process of that, so be aware of that. And that's about it. I don't really know much. I'll be here again next Tuesday. And that wraps up another episode of the Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable. Please be sure to follow us on Facebook at Hazmat Nation and the Hazmat Guys. And be sure to catch every week's show live every Tuesday at 21:15 hours Eastern Standard Times on Google Hangouts, which is now YouTube Live, right?
Yes.
And we also produce a podcast, which is the audio-only version that you can find on iTunes under the Hazmat Guys Nation. And we post this every week instantly on our YouTube channel at THMG, which is the Hazmat Guys, and then you spell out nation at gmail.com. That's it, guys. We'll see you next week.
Be safe.